You're welcome back to State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. And my next guest on State of Affairs this evening is the Honorable Samuel Nete George. He's Member of Parliament for the Ningo-Prampram constituency, and he's one of the sponsors of this private members' bill, which seemingly has become very, very controversial, reason for which there is a protest tomorrow. Honorable Sam George, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Lantam.
How are you doing?
Great.
It's good to have you in the studio.
It's always good to be here. I mean, it's been a while.
You are getting ready for the protest tomorrow?
I'm not sleeping till we present the petition. I'm ready. I'm going to stand at circle from here. From here, I'm going straight to circle. I'm going to wait.
From here?
Yeah, I'm going to wait for the rest of the
You are going to wait there. You'll be the first person there.
Yeah.
To wait for everybody else.
I'm preparing the place. We'll clean the place, make sure the place is set for everybody to come.
You know, I mean, it's been said that a lot of people within or who are members of the NDC and what have you are the ones who are seriously pushing this. And I've recently heard the vice presidential candidate of the MPP say that, I mean, during John Mohammed's time, you were doing all kinds of education, teaching men how to kiss men and what have you. And he mentioned Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa's name, essentially saying that, I mean, all of those who are saying all of these things, it will be sort of hypocritical for you to now be seriously and vociferously advocating for there to be a passage of a bill like this.
Well, first and foremost, let me state emphatically that this is not just about the NDC. This bill was passed in Parliament by 275 members of Parliament, 138 on the side of the NPP and 137 on the side of the NDC. And so this bill supports, enjoys bipartisan support. In fact, I remember that the then majority leader, Chairman Sambonso, was one of the people who helped us to do a lot of the winnowing on the bill. And on the day of the third reading, the Chief Whip, Anodompre, was categoric in the fact that the NPP as a political party supports the position of the bill. So this is not just about the NDC, it's a national cause. But I mean, I've watched the video of the vice presidential candidate, Matthew Prempeh, and I think after watching that video and a few other videos of his, I am beginning to get aligned with a school of thought that says that one of the requirements for anyone seeking to run for president or their running mate, they should be subjected to a mental fitness test.
What are you saying here? What do you mean by that statement?
It appears to me that the good doctor may not have all his nuts properly screwed on properly. When you listen to, it appears that every
the vice presidential candidates
Matthew Prempeh
has a mental problem?
It appears so to me.
That what you're
saying? It appears so to me because every fortnight you
realize... Is that a fair... Is that a fair...
Lantam, if you let me land, you would realize...
The former education minister.
You let me... Every fortnight, it appears that he's been programmed such that every fortnight he has an effusion of foolishness. That is displayed publicly.
I think that's a bit harsh. Is
that not harsh?
It's not. I mean,
foolishness.
What do you mean by that?
No, but if someone is being foolish, you must tell them they're being foolish.
You're saying the vice presidential candidate of the NPP is. I mean, I don't even want to use that.
Yeah, I'm saying that we should subject him to a mental fitness test.
I don't think it's fair. It's a fair characterization.
Listen.
Of the
Lantam. Let me ask you one question. He says that Okudzeto Ablakwa did what? Brought in CSE.
Yes.
Okudzeto Ablakwa was deputy minister in charge of tertiary. CSE was introduced in basic school. Okudzeto had absolutely nothing to do with basic education at his time in the ministry. Does that sound like somebody who has his faculties functioning properly? Again, I have a video I can share with you to play for your viewers of Matthew Prempeh thanking UNESCO. Thanking UNESCO. He was wearing a blue suit. Thanking UNESCO for introducing CSE into the curriculum and that it is time for us to get modern and understand modern sexual trends. Napo? And this was in 2019. Why? And that's why I say that we need to begin to have a mental fitness test. Because I think you
can criticize or point out the factual inaccuracies in his statements if you think that without attacking his person or describing him with such words.
No, you see, Lantam, this is the problem at times the media has. You've sensationalized. I have not attacked him. I have not insulted him. I've described his actions. Listen, mental fitness is a test, is an aptitude test that's taken when you go and see a psychiatrist. They subject you to a test to determine whether you are mentally fit or not. It is an assessment that is done. It's just like the guy who goes to go through that mental test, and then he answers all the questions well. And then the guy, the person says to him, the psychiatrist says, "You've done very well. It looks like you did very well, but your friend was supposed to come before you. He didn't come." Say, "Oh yes, he fell into a gutter. So I took him to the bathtub, washed him, and I've dried him on the hanging line." Then the psychiatrist realized that, he had not passed the test. And that's what's happening with the MPP's running mate. Because it's a different thing if he gets his facts and dates wrong. The man himself thanked UNESCO. The man himself at the ministry was the recipient of $28 million for the introduction of CSE. So how can he forget that he received 28 million? How can he forget that he wore a blue suit and went and stood there and thanked UNESCO for bringing ministers of education from the 4 regions of Africa? And now assume that the deputy minister in charge of tertiary was the one who introduced something for basic education. Lantam, if you think that this does not show immediate signs of a certain kind of disorder, that should give all of us cause for worry, because in the absence of the president, this person will act as president and commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. He could as well one of those days just wake up and decide that I don't like the shape of Togo, so let's attack Togo and annex it. We need to subject people to mental fitness tests, because this is the same person who told us you're Kwame Nkrumah.
Which he apologized for.
Oh, Lantam. What's the value of medicine to a dead body? What's the value of medicine to a dead body? And so I think that the media must, as a matter of fact, begin to, I can't dictate editorial policy to you, but you must begin to look at the kind of currency you give to certain people, okay? Because clearly, where are political discourses? Can I ask you, in all of NAPO's public statements, one policy position NAPO has espoused? He's never espoused the policy position. He just comes to engage in some kind of, it's not even comedy, because it's tragic. So you can't even laugh, because it is sad to see a party like the NPP reduced to such levels. So, I mean, it is tragic to see such, I mean, look, people take NAPO seriously when he's quiet. And I would advise him, as a very good friend, to continue to stay quiet. But when it comes to the issues that involve critical thinking and proper analysis, he shouldn't tread there. It's not his area of expertise. Yes. I mean, this is friendly advice to him. As my colleague in Parliament, when we're discussing policy issues, critical analysis, critical thinking, nation building, no, I mean, he should stay away from it. It will help him.
Coming back to the bill,
Yes.
What kind of pushback have you faced with regard to really pushing for this bill, and even before organizing this protest, being at the forefront? What kind of pushback?
The pushback has been local, international. I mean, when you have a president who speaks from both sides of his mouth, anyway, in one vein tells the church at the Anglican investiture of the head of the Anglican church that LGBTQ will never happen under his watch, but tells the international media that it's just because you don't have a strong enough coalition. You realize that you have a president whose word you cannot take at face value, because he's double-tongued. And then on the basis of that, you begin to realize and see the activities. And when Kamala Harris came here, and I mean, she's just the vice president of the United States of America. She's not even the president. She came to speak to him, the president, and he put his hand behind his back like a schoolboy and said, "Oh, I don't know anything about that bill. It's some private member, some George B, who is pushing the bill." I mean, when the president is so cowardly in the face of a woman from the U.S., a woman who can't hold her own in her own country, and our president is literally outing his own parliament and saying, "I have nothing to do with it," you get to realize that you have the game stacked against you. When the president causes his executive secretary, and we wish him speedy recovery as he recovers from the challenge he's having in the US, causes him to write a letter to Parliament asking Parliament to cease and desist because there's a court case, at which time there was no court case. A court case only matured 24 hours after that letter. It lets you know that the principalities and powers that the Bible spoke about are sitting in the Flagstaff house. You know, rulers of darkness and wickedness in high places. They're sitting in the Flagstaff house there. But you see, the beauty of it is principalities and powers and rulers of wickedness in high places. They all bow down at the name of Jesus. And so, irrespective of how high they are and how haughty they think they may be, we come against them in the name of Jesus, the resurrected Christ, and we are silencing them. And tomorrow we would establish that fact. And you see, it should just let you know, this is the first time in the history of Ghana that your Chief Justice and Judicial Service have had two press statements and issued two press releases. Today, whilst we're doing our media engagement, the Judicial Service called an impromptu press conference at about 4:30 p.m. Still trying to explain that it is not their fault and that we should go and blame the Attorney General. Oh, it's fine. It's
but what you make of that explanation?
It's good.
Because
the Chief Justice, the Judicial Service is chuking the Attorney General. That's fine. The reason why the bill hasn't gone to the president is not because of processes that have not been filed. It's simply because the Chief Justice, Tokono, her leadership, has failed to give judgment in the injunction petition. All documents and processes in the injunction petition have been heard and completed. It is now for the substantive case. What is stopping Parliament is that injunction suit. So there is nobody, not the plaintiffs, not the defendants. The only person who's held us up from a judgment on the injunction, which would allow Parliament to proceed with transmitting according to Article 106, 6, and 7 of the 1992 Constitution, is Her Ladyship Gertrude Tokono. She cannot pass the buck. And even when it comes to the substantive case, the powers of those courts do not reside in the plaintiff or the defendant. They reside in the presiding judge. It's akin to you saying that you are the host of this show, but I should come and determine what you should discuss. And so you are sitting there and waiting until I come and tell you, okay, Lantam, let's discuss the food my wife is going to cook tomorrow. That becomes the topic of your conversation. That's what the Chief Justice is saying to us. That she's sitting there being paid with our salary, with our taxes, driven around, chauffeured around an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned home from an air-conditioned office. And she's sitting and waiting for the Attorney General to be the one at his own leisure and pleasure to file the documents. Does the Chief Justice of Ghana now work at the behest of the Attorney General of Ghana? Is that what she's telling us? If that's what she's telling us, then it's unbecoming of someone occupying that whole high office. Because we expect the expeditious dispensation of justice. Because you see, when you delay justice, you deny justice. And so you have an Attorney General whose penchant for delay and abysmal nature of work is evident in the Japa case and is even evident in this matter. Because Parliament wrote to the Attorney General in October 2022 to present a memo on the bill. It took the Attorney General one calendar year, 12 months. A woman who got pregnant at the time Parliament wrote to him. By the time he responded to Parliament, the woman had put to bed, they had named the child, and the child had started sitting. Because he was asked to write, he was written to by Parliament in October 2022. He responded at the end of October 2023. Almost 13 complete months. So, if it took him 13 months to just prepare a memo to Parliament, and the Chief Justice says she's waiting for Godfred Dame, well, maybe he's waiting for another Japa to come and school him on how to file his documents. We don't know. But the Chief Justice does not engender trust in the populace of this country, in his ability to dispense his duties. And so the Chief Justice cannot be sitting down and waiting for such an incompetent Attorney General to file his documents. The court procedure, the rules of procedure at court state that he should file his documents in 14 days in response to whatever affidavit has been filed. We've gone past 63 days. He's not filed it. Is the Chief Justice assuming and telling this country that she will sit aloof and leave him
but the registrar said that there's an application which will be heard within 1 week of the Supreme Court sitting, being the 15th to the 17th of October. So at least we are seeing that, okay, we are making headway with regard to this case. And some dates have been given, for us to look forward to.
This is the wind of the demo. So imagine what the demo itself will do. You understand me? The Chief Justice has held one press conference. She held a press conference, I think on the 7th or so, or 9th of September. She wrote to me personally on the 11th of September. Now she's held another press conference today, and finally she's giving dates. Well, we're asking for dates. We will go there. We want a timetable. Now she's giving you just dates. We want the full timetable. What she's giving you is the lecture for day 1. We want from Monday to Friday. We want the whole date. We want a calendar, a timetable for us to be able to follow. That this is how long
but
the Supreme Court is going to take.
Is that practical? Considering
was it not practical to have a 90-day
how our
time
judicial
window?
systems, work? You could, hear the case, an issue could come up, there could be an adjournment because something needs to be done and all of that. So is that practical?
It was all of these scenarios you paint existed in the election petition. But the Supreme Court said in 90 days they will rule, in 90 days they ruled. And let me tell you, on the same matter, there was another case, apart from the Richard Sky and Amanda Odoy one, Richard Brinkrine, a lecturer from University of Ghana, challenging Section 104. And our whole bill is premised on Section 104 of Act 29. He goes to the root of it and says that Section 104 of Act 29 is actually unconstitutional. The same Supreme Court, a different panel, led by Justice Abdullah Itanko, with other judges, including Justice Yoni Kolendi, who issued a quorum judgment, sat on this matter, even during the judicial break, and have delivered a ruling, a very succinct 59-page judgment. So if the Chief Justice is so minded, she should go and read the legal reasoning, the astute legal reasoning of her brothers on the bench, and let us know if she disagrees with them, and on what basis she disagrees with them. But then they make it clear in their ruling that the Supreme Court of Ghana will not be peer pressured by external influences to accept homosexuality in any shape, form, or opinion. Does the Chief Justice disagree with them? Is the Chief Justice going to give an injunction against Parliament and depart from her own ruling she gave in March this year in the Dafia Mekpo versus Attorney General case, where she ruled that the Supreme Court of Ghana and the Judiciary of Ghana does not have the power to stop a constitutional body from carrying out its constitutional function? Parliament is a constitutional body set up by the 1992 Constitution. The transmission of bills from Parliament to the executive is a constitutional mandate in Article 106, 6, and 7 of the Constitution. So we are carrying out a constitutional mandate, and the Chief Justice is currently, in my humble opinion, behaving in a manner akin to what the framers of the Constitution warned of in Article 296 of the Constitution. She has public power, but she's using it in a capricious, arbitrary, and malicious manner, and is acting in a way that is impeding the speedy delivery of public justice. She is holding the hand of Parliament and holding the hand of the executive. The judiciary has no power to hold the other two arms of government in abeyance. They must dispense of that case with expediency. It's in the public interest and national security interest of our state. This is the first time you see the clergy issue a letter asking their membership to come out and demonstrate. I'm sure you've seen the letter from the GPCC. This is the first time the chief imam is endorsing openly a demonstration. If I was the Minister for National Security, I won't be sleeping tonight. I won't be sleeping tonight. And this is not the time to seek the face of God. This is the time to tell women and men sitting on the Supreme Court to sit down and earn their salary and earn their keep and do their job.
All right. So we'll have to begin to wrap this up at this point. But just to understand, and for those who are just joining right before we wrap it up, what are the demands, the petitions that you are sending?
You want me to read the petition to you before I go and present it to them? To the Attorney General. If I do that now, trust me, the Judicial Service will hold a press conference at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
No, what are they? I mean, give us a semblance of it.
I've told you what it is. We want a timetable. I won't go beyond
just that.
The details are in the petition. Because see, even because already I spoke about a timetable, they held a press conference this evening. Impromptu press conference this evening, and you are telling me they are mentioning it. If I tell you the details of the thing, at 6 a.m. tomorrow, they'll hold a press conference. Look, whether they open a media house, whether the Judicial Service opens a media house or not, tomorrow we're coming there.
All right. We'll have to end it here. Unfortunately, we'll run out of time. And so thank you very much, Honorable Sam George.
Pleasure is mine. And I hope to see you. I hope to see you immediately after you finish your morning show.
We will be there to cover it.
No, your media house
will be there
Lantam,
to cover it. And they will be bringing a very comprehensive coverage of this.
Oh, hold on. Why are you running away? I know your position. You went to school in my constituency. Don't forget. You attended Central University. Your record is still in the hostels. You love the fair things of life. You are not a man who has affection for men.
I have not stated my position on this matter.
Lantam.
I have not stated my position. So thank you very much.
What do I do now?
Not at all. I can never.
Absolutely.
I
So
can
you
never.
stated your position.
Thank you very much.
that's why I
Honorable
want to
Sam
see you out
George
there tomorrow.
is MP for Ningo-Prampram constituency. This is where we'll end State of Affairs this evening here on GHOne TV. My name is Lantam Papanko. Have a good evening.